Hello, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of the Underground Podcast. This week, I'm interviewing one of our partners here, Jonathan. How are you, mate?
I'm doing so good. If my name was Tyler, it'd be accurate to say that I'm doing that good, man. You know,
No,
I'm
lovely
doing great,
stuff.
man. I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for
How's your
asking.
week been?
It's been busy, man. It's been busy. It's a busy time of year. We're always busy, but here, wrapping up Q4, things are always busy. We've got new initiatives, new partnerships, new ideas, planning Q1, Q2, and getting things aligned for the new year.
Nice. What are some of the initiatives that we've got installed?
Well, I mean, some of this is a surprise, so I'm not going
Okay.
to spoil the surprise. But what I will say is that we've got heavy focus on adding value to our partnerships with our clients, namely in the service realm and specifically in terms of ways that we're improving our service. I think that's something that, I think you may have had Jamie on here before, right?
Uh, no, actually, I haven't had Jamie on. He has done a podcast with one of our partners, Bilal and Alex.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, for sure. So basically, Jamie is really such a forward thinker in terms of the delivery and how do we constantly improve that. And I think that that's one of the things that makes Underground an amazing place for clients to come into is that we're always improving the service as we go, and there's that constant and never-ending sharpening of the blade of improving even small nuanced things. But hey, if we can get 1% better every couple of days, there's just that incremental improvement that over a year's span just continues to make our clients more successful. It makes our partners more successful, and at the end of the day, it makes us more successful. So that's a very exciting thing for us to be a part of.
Just yeah, give me a rundown of what you of your time here at UE then.
On a day to day, I mean, my time is spread over, I would say strategic initiatives, strategic planning, definitely broken down into our marketing and sales side of things, systems optimization, really looking at the vision of where we're headed and really helping to, either make sure that we have the team and the systems in place to carry that, but also to help support the whatever might come up. I think that's really, there's not so much a set in stone role of what I would say that I do every single day, but the categories are pretty fixed. Really, just again, systems, delivery, sales, marketing, a little bit in every area. But at the end of the day, it's to help refine what we do, help improve what we do, and help keep our vision high. Because if as an organization, if we keep our vision high, we'll continue to improve. We'll continue to impact the globe and expand. I mean, we did an amazing send off this year over at James's place, where we're sitting down and we're packaging up all of these gifts that we're sending out to clients. And it was at that moment when we were sitting down there, it really hit me when we were there that we're reaching a global community and we're serving a global community. The impact is so much greater than what we think. When you start writing down names and addresses and building individual gift packets that go out, you start realizing, man, there's a huge market that's being served. There's a lot of businesses that are being improved on. There's a lot of value that's being delivered, and the company's growing so fast that sometimes we lose sight of how freaking big that is, because it is kind of dramatic when we look at the size and the scope of everything.
For sure. I remember doing like the 100 partner post, but I'm pretty sure we're nearing or maybe even have surpassed the 200 partners in a matter of months.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely growing rapidly, and I think that's what excites me. I think on a day-to-day level is really looking at I guess the questions that I ask myself are how can we add more value than anybody would in their right mind reasonably expect. That's what drives a lot of the question. Be it in a sales side of things, on a marketing side of things, or on a partnership side of things, or on delivery side of things. My sort of driving question behind everything that I do is how do we add more value? Because I can tell you one thing is that adding more value is practically a guarantee that we're going to continue to be more successful. how do we think big in terms of adding value? How do we think big in terms of, what do our clients need? But then once we scratch that itch and all those boxes are checked and all their needs are being met, they've got the flows, they've got the campaigns, they've got all these amazing, facets of their business that are now optimized and working at its fullest potential. How do we go that step further and say, great, now what's the unreasonable level of value that we can deliver here? What's the unreasonable level of not just monetary value? It may be a monetary value, but it may just be sort of a system improvement, or it may be something that we do on a very, early on in that process on a discovery call where we're adding just that little bit more value on that call, because the more value that we add, the better off that everybody does. It's sort of a win-win-win across the board. Everybody wins the more value that we offer.
For sure. Stefan touched a little bit on your point, like on the calls and stuff for service delivery. But I wanted to go back to something you mentioned where you obviously work in quite a few areas of the business, so strategy, marketing, and sales. Can you break down like your involvement in these three categories?
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes down to strategy, I mean, look, there's a lot of very, very sharp minds in the organization. When it comes down to strategy, there's a lot of challenges that we need to overcome due to the fact that we're growing so fast, right? So there's some of those challenges are, on my radar. The other challenges that are on my radar that we're looking to solve via strategic and clear thinking really comes down to how do we explosively grow at an even greater rate, right? And that's a huge part of what I would say the sales and marketing sort of strategy comes down to is, how do we look at, the market as a whole, and how do we look at the amount of people in that marketplace who know us and who trust us and who do business with us, and how do we build relationships with people who may not do business with us for another 6 months or 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to break it down, I mean, the strategic sort of input that I bring is very varied, I guess is what I would say. It's never something that I would put my finger on. I know this is not the answer you're looking for. You're probably wanting something very, very concrete.
I don't really mind. I'm not sure that's what I'm asking. So yeah, you
Awesome,
go ahead.
man. Awesome, man. But yeah, I think the core thing again to sort of that drives me every day is, how do we think big in terms of adding value to the marketplace? And, it's all good and fine to have great visions and great ideas and great dreams and, have all these things in your imagination. But then the strategy comes in when we say, okay, great. How do we make this into a tangible reality that runs smoothly, consistently, and is constantly, I guess, flexible enough to be improved as we go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit about me in terms of how I see the company. And, I mean, this is such, like I said, I mean, there's a lot of, there's a lot of bright minds and there's a lot of sharp minds. We're a very young group. We're a very young company in terms of, even just our internal demographic. And I think what that brings is, with it is that we see the world and we see the situation through very, very fresh eyes. And I think, applying that to something as evolved as email, which has been around forever, is a phenomenal thing to have, because most of the time emails are thought of as this mundane routine thing that just, okay, we have to do it. When in reality, email marketing itself can be the primary way of building the relationship with your client base, with your customer base. And it's a way of building relationships. And, I always talk about the 3 R's, which are sort of revenue, which is, everybody wants more revenue. Everybody wants to have a better relationship though, and that's, one of those parts of that trifecta for me, that it's a relationship with your list. It's not like we're, okay, great, let's mass blast everybody. What we're really looking for here is how do we touch the individuals, right? How do we write emails that are relevant to that list? How do we do something that people want to open up? I mean, I don't know about you, Tyler, but I mean, I'm subscribed to all kinds of things, from everything that I purchased, be it a supplement store that I bought some vitamins from, or whatever the case it might be. But I mean, we get flooded and inundated with all these emails, and 99% of the time, if I get an email, from sort of a campaign or some sort of flow, I'll delete it. I don't even open it up. But
Yeah.
there is that rare one. There's that rare brand that will come through, and every time they send something over, I always open it.
Yeah,
And
if I get a crappy email, I'll usually just unsubscribe from the mailing list and never want to hear from them again.
right.
There
And
are
so
some that will catch you out though. There are some that will catch you out with the deal or the tagline or the imagery.
right. Like, so we have to ask ourselves, is it by chance that this one brand is consistently amazing and we consistently look forward to their emails? I would say it's not by chance. This is 100% strategy. It's planning. It's creatively putting yourselves in the shoes of your list, right? And so that is a huge part of, what I'm super proud of the organization right now, is that we're able to. And by the way, for everything that I'm saying, I take credit for zero of this, by the way. Like I said, we have so many sharp minds in the organization. I mean, this is just something I'm proud of, is that, the clients that we have, we will see things like unsubscribe rates plummet, right? And just to speak to what you're saying, right? If we can write something that's so good that people want to have more of it, and they're clicking through on things at a very high percentage rate, and they're responding back to the emails as if it was a personal email. I mean, that's phenomenal, right? That is a unique, I think Seth Godin talks about it in his book. He calls it the purple cow. It's remarkable. It's completely remarkable that you could have a deliverable that can actually change the relationship between two entities.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, the graphic designer and the copywriter I've worked with, Alexandra and Christos, they're so talented. I'll give them my ideas and they can just run with it. Like Christos's copy is always amazing. Alexandra always brings my ideas to life. And I think the youth of the company comes from the fact that James is only 23 and he just hires people. Like everyone I've spoken to on the podcast so far has been so easy to talk to. It's not like he's hiring like old robots. He's hiring young, interesting, cool people that you can just have a chat with one-on-one, which I don't think you can always find everywhere you work.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is that, there's so many great groups that are out there, but I think what makes Underground different is that we're not satisfied with being great. I would say that everybody in the organization as a whole uniformly is grateful to be where we're at, but we are not satisfied to stay at this level. We're looking for that next edge. We're looking to evolve. We're looking to, to see what can we do internally to improve, to be outstanding, to be a, one in a million company. And like you said, I mean, the fact that we're young people makes a huge difference, because we don't come with a lot of the outdated ideas that, I mean, there's people that I'll, email or call, and they still have a fax on their signature, in their email. And I'm like, when was the last time that you use a fax? But I think the way most people run their email marketing is like how people used to use faxes, where it's very archaic. It's very archaic, and it doesn't really strike home. So yeah, I mean, that's my perspective, I think, on where we're at. But go ahead and continue fire away, dude. I mean, as my wife would say, once I start talking, once you get John talking, he won't shut up. So
Oh, that's fine. The more content, the better. Is this your first time in this kind of role?
No, it's not. It's not my first time in this kind of role. I've something that I say is, well, first of all, just a little bit about my background. I mean, I'm a farm boy from California originally, and so I've grown up doing a ton of manual labor, milking cows before school kind of thing.
Standard.
Just standard, just working hard, training horses. I mean, just literally all the, feeding the goats and, killing chickens and, gutting them and defeathering them and all that juicy goodness. That was me growing up. And basically, I decided at a very young age that I wanted to become financially successful, which was kind of a stretch because I grew up in a very small mobile home, and I didn't really know what the path would be. And I mean, I think the very first idea I had when I was about 13 years old, about 20 years ago, I sat down and I wrote down this plan of how I was going to breed rabbits and become a millionaire by breeding and selling rabbits. And I just was like, okay, this is the ovulation period. This is how long it takes, for the pregnation. Okay, great. So, and I had this whole scheme in my mind of how I was going to become, very successful with that. But over the past, I would say over the past 15 years, maybe now it's even longer. My first actual business was when I was 15. I'm 33, so what is that? 18 years now. I've used what is now a very famous strategy called the reverse rocket launch strategy, and I use that strategy to successfully drive many of my early companies deeply into the ground. And so was in debt very heavily, because a lot of these companies had gone bust, and I've been very, very fortunate to have some of those companies actually really soar and become very, very financially successful. So I have been in this role before. I'm in this role right now, and I'm loving every minute of it. This is what I live and breathe. I mean, I love sports. I love, getting out there and doing athletic stuff. But to me, business is the greatest sport on planet Earth because your competition is global. You have to be switched on. You got to treat your body like you're an athlete, and you've got to be able to be as competitive as possible. And that requires a lot of personal inner work, but it also requires just, setting your compass to, what's the hardest thing to do right now and getting that thing done.
For
And,
sure.
so that's, I don't know if that's the answer that you're looking for, but again.
No, that was good. That was good. What is your favorite sport? As you mentioned, you're a sportsman.
So I love soccer. I really, really love soccer. It's something that I've played for. I played soccer for a few years when I was in school. I didn't actually finish school, so while I was there, though, I did play soccer for a few years there, and that was awesome. That was a lot of fun.
No,
I was a goalie, and I was loving life.
we could start an underground econ 5 aside.
Exactly.
So we've just come off of a huge Black Friday, Cyber Monday, not just for us, but also for our partners. So this is a two-part question. What role did you play in the success in both of the parties, and are you happy with the results?
Well, I mean, look, the guys and gals on the front line, on the sales team and on the delivery team, are the real heroes of the BFCM success. I mean, I need to give just a huge shout out to all of the men and women, young men and young women who make UE work, and more importantly, who make it work during that time, because there are hundreds of processes that are at play, and every single one of those processes that have been designed, need people behind them to make them work, and it requires that team. So I would say BFCM success, huge shout out to our sales team for being really, really ambitious and dealing with the ups and the downs of being in sales. And I would say major shout out to the delivery team for pulling all-nighters, doing the unreasonable levels of value adding that they did to make that work, because it's so complex. There's so many additional things that need to be done, so many things that need to be done perfectly. There's no room for error. So I would say that as much as I would love to say I've got a major role, in the success of that, I would say that would not be accurate. I would say the real heroes of that are the sales and the delivery team themselves on the front line.
Yeah, I got the results for the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and we achieved over like 8.3 million in total revenue, which was, when I got the number, it was mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's over a 4-day period, right? I mean, that's unheard of.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about the future. We've already talked about what's happened recently. 2021's coming to a close and Q1's around the corner, which is a really profitable tongue twister, profitable time for e-com brands and businesses. So how are you preparing UE and our partners for the new year?
Well, I would say, look, I'm a big believer in keeping, and again, you're not going to like my answer here, but I'll say it anyway. I'm a big believer in keeping our goals under the cover until we've achieved it, and really letting the world see what we achieve rather than sort of say it in advance. But I would say watch the space, man. Watch what we're doing here, guys. You know, all the listeners who are listening to this, you're going to see we get even bigger, even better. You're going to see our partners achieve even bigger milestones, and it's going to be at a whole new level. And I can say that knowing that we've got some amazing, amazing surprises up in store coming up here in the next 12 months. So if you were impressed as a listener with where UE was at in 2021, which I hope you were, strap in. You know, we're going to Mars. We're going to the moon.
Go to Mars. I'm happy with that answer. That will do.
Love it, man.
All right, so I've given you a couple of weeks to think about this answer, and it's one of the ones I ask everyone. Who is your celebrity inspiration? And
Who's my
character?
celebrity crush or my celebrity inspiration?
Well, Matt said the same thing. You can do both.
No.
Or you can tell me the crush after the podcast is
Yeah,
over.
yeah. I'll tell you that after the, yeah, I'll tell you that offline. So who's that guy who's a serial killer who only kills the bad guys? What's his name?
There's the Cray twins in the UK.
Dexter, is that his name? Yeah, Dexter Morgan from the Dexter Show. Anyway, it is a good show, but no, I'd say, you know what, realistically, and I'll be honest, I haven't really put too much thought in this, but I'd say Zlatan Ibrahimovic for me would be, and I don't know if he's a celebrity in the sense of being an actor, but I'd say that he is definitely a guy that I really admire and I really look up to. You know, I think he's a showman. Number one, I think he's a real showman. I think there's ways of doing things that are blasé and kind of mundane, and there's ways of doing the exact same thing that are eye-catching, that are inspirational, and that can get anybody who's not even involved in the sport to kind of make the hair on the back of your neck go up and kind of go, damn, this is, you know, this guy's, you know, I want to do what he's doing. I mean, to me, that's sort of the definition of inspiration. And I think the other piece that I like about him is that he's very skilled. You know, he actually does work on his craft. I think you can talk the talk, but when the lights come on and you know, and you're on stage, you got to have the goods, you know. And I would say personally that, yeah, I mean, I would say personally he's extremely skilled, and in his interviews he's very witty, and that's something I love, that I do love about him, is that he is very he's very witty, he's very funny in the way that he communicates. And I think it just goes back to, you know, knowing how to build a brand. You know, there's so many soccer players out there at the very highest levels, but there's only a few that most people would know who they are. Exactly. I would probably place them in that category.
Yeah, a lot of them are media trained now, so their answers are boring. Yeah, the team played well. We did this, we did that. But if he scores a last-minute banger, he's going to say, "I won us the game. I am the king. I'm the lion," or "I'm not human." I've liked him for a while for the way he speaks about himself.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just, I think there's, you know, people want that, you know, that's what people want to see. People want to see greatness, but they also want to see somebody who's actually good at putting on a show. I mean, that's why people like McGregor. And, you know, I mean, you could name any of these other, you know, sports celebrities who are just out there that catch your eye because they know how to put on a great show. They're entertainers. It's a multifaceted skill set.
Yeah. Some people do say sports is an entertainment business first.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that make the most money.
I would agree with that.
Who is your favorite football team?
Well, I pretty much follow Ibrahimovic. So when he was with Paris Saint-Germain, I was a huge Paris Saint-Germain fan. You know, it would have to be Milan now, but that's just because he's there. I mean, it just depends on where he's at. That is how much of a fan I am of him. that I actually don't care about the team as much as I do where he's playing at. So I don't know if that's a good answer, but that's sort of a funny
That's right.
fact about myself there.
Well, I thought the way you were dressed today, you got the polo neck on, the glasses. I thought your celebrity inspiration might have been Tony Stark.
Or Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah, you're giving me serious Tony Stark, Steve Jobs vibes right now.
Well, that is high praise. That is high praise. That is very high praise. Yeah, that is very high praise. Thank you.
Well, that's all we've got time for today.
Well, awesome, man.
I'd like to thank you for coming on. It's been unreal.
It's been a blast, dude.
Well, thank you for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Boom.